Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to draw this cute dog in Procreate. One of my viewers asked me to draw a dog, so here it is. I hope you will like it. Let's start. I'm going to draw this on the square canvas from Procreate. And first we're going to do the sketch. So for that, let's pick this red color here. I will be drawing the sketch with 6B pencil, but if you want, you can pick another brush. My brush size is 27%. And first let's draw a head, a shape like this. Now let's mark the middle of it, and a little bit lower than the middle, let's start drawing his mouth part. I'm not sure how to call this. So a shape like this. Here let's draw a small triangle for the nose. And then 3 straight lines like this. And of course something like this here. Let's draw the eyes. And now for the ears we can draw shapes like that, kind of like triangle a little bit. And also let's draw a few lines on his face like that. And now for the body, let's draw a potato shape like this here. That will be going a little bit on his head. Somewhere here let's draw a line for his belly. And now on the left side we are going to draw one of his legs like that. And the other front leg will be here. Very simple shape. And now the back leg will be going like this. If you want to use my sketch as reference, you are welcome to download it as well. I'm going to attach it together with the color palette. Let's draw a small tail like this, and it's a twisted tail, so it will be just looking like that. And now 2 lines here under his head. Now we can use the arrow tool to move it and maybe change the shape a little bit if you have to. I'm going to use here freeform option to make him a little bit shorter, this way, like that. And now I'll use the warp option just to change him a little bit. Okay, and now let's draw here a little cloud with a message. And there will be a heart inside. And the sketch is finished. Let's open the layers and let's turn down the opacity of this layer. Let's make it 33%. Now let's create a new layer and move it underneath the layer of the sketch. Let's pick the color for the outline. It will be this first brown color. The brush I'm going to use for my outline is monoline and the brush size is 35%. So I want to use here a symmetry tool to make it easier for me to outline this. So I'm going to the Actions menu, Canvas, Drawing Guide, and then Edit Drawing Guide. And here let's turn on the symmetry. And now we can move this line in the middle of his head. Okay, let's tap on Done. And now we can outline the drawing. As you can see, my symmetry is not working. It means I have to go to the layers and tap on this layer here and turn on Drawing Assist. Now it should work. Here I'm holding my pencil down on screen to make the quick shape. And now I can use Edit Shape to adjust the points so it looks better. So let's keep drawing it. For the eyes I'm going to change the brush size to 100% and I'm just going to stamp it like this. Now for the small lines on his face I'm going to change the brush size to 13%. Let's draw also these lines like that. And now I don't need to use the symmetry tool anymore, so let's open the layers and let's just turn off the Drawing Assist here. And also let's go to the Actions menu, and turn off drawing guide. Let's keep drawing the outline. The heart I'm going to leave as it is, I don't want it to be outlined. Okay, now I'm going back to the other brush size, to the size 35, and I'm going to finish outlining it. And now let's go back to the brush size 13 and draw a few dots on his face. Okay, this is finished, and now we can start coloring it. So let's open the layers, we can turn off the sketch layer, and now let's tap on this layer here and set it to reference. Let's create a new layer and move it underneath the reference layer. Now let's pick the color, let's take this color and drag and drop it into his body. When you hold your pencil on the screen, you can still swipe it to the left or right to adjust the color drop threshold. Make sure it's somewhere high, around 90%. Let's color his head and his tail. Now we're going to create a new layer to color the rest of his head. Let's take this color and drop it into the other spaces. On this layer also we are going to draw the blush on his face. Let's take this pink color, and for this let's turn back on the symmetry tool for a moment. Let's turn on the drawing assist and draw an oval like this. Let's color this inside. And now we can turn off the drawing assist again. Okay, maybe on this layer we can also color the cloud. Let's take this color and color the cloud. So now we have flat colors done, and we can add shadow and light to the illustration. And we are also going to add the highlights. Let's start with adding those to this layer. Let's create a new layer, and now set it to clipping mask. And let's take this dark blue color. We are going to draw shadows. So draw shadows on one side of the dog. I'm going to be doing shadows on his right side. Let me change the brush size to something smaller. Let's do 53%. And I'm adding the shadow here to his face. Let's open the layers now, and let's change the blending mode of this layer to multiply. And we also have to turn down the opacity. Let's make it 11%. Now let's create a new layer for the lights. Let's set it to clipping mask. And the color we're going to use is this one. And now first we're going to use the soft brush for my brushing. The brush size will be 4%. And we can draw the light on his left side, like that. Let's change the blending mode of this layer. Let's set this to add. And turn down the opacity to 40%. And now let's create one more layer for the highlights. We also have to set it to clipping mask. And here we are going to use the monoline brush. And we can just draw highlights like this on top of the lights we just drew. So now let's change the blending mode, let's set it to add, and here the layer opacity will be 28%. So now I have to do the same for the other layer with the whole body. Let's tap on it and create a new layer above it. Set it to clipping mask, and since we have this color here, we can maybe start with doing the lights. So let's change the brush to soft brush and add the light like this here. Now let's make the brush smaller, maybe 7%, and we can draw the light on his body here, like that. And now even smaller size, 3%, and keep drawing the light. Okay, let's change the blending mode to add, and turn down the opacity to 16%. Let's make one more layer for the highlights, set it to clipping mask, and we can right away change the blending mode to add, and turn down the opacity. Let's start with 28%. Let's change the brush to monoline and draw the highlights on top of the lights we just drew. I think I will just turn down the opacity a little bit. I'm going to set it to 20%. And now let's create a new layer for the shadows. Let's move this layer under the layers with the lights. So here, and as you can see, it is already clipped. Let's change the color for the blue one, and let's draw the shadows. Now we can change the blending mode of this layer. Let's set it to multiply, and the layer's opacity will be 15%. So I see that the blush on his face is too bright in the part where it's light, so I'm going to go to this layer here, and I will just erase it a little bit. So let's tap on the eraser tool, tap again, and set it to soft brush. I'm going to use the brush size 3%, and I will gently erase this a little bit. Okay, now let's maybe create a new layer and draw the heart in the cloud. Let's take the red color, and let's turn back on the sketch for a moment, and we can draw that heart. Okay, now we can turn off the sketch layer again, and we can also tap on this layer with the outline here and turn off the reference. Let's make the background now. Tap on the background color and pick this color. Tap on done, and now let's add some gradient to it, so we have to create a new layer for this. Let's tap on the bottom layer and create a new layer above it. Let's move it underneath it, and now let's take this color. Let's take the soft brush, and with the brush size 26, color the top part of the canvas like this. Now let's create a new layer, and we are going to add the grid. Let's take this color. We can just use the grid brush. You can find it in textures. And the brush size I'm going to use here is 72%. Without picking my pencil from the screen, I'm just drawing the grid like that, with one movement. Now let's create a new layer above it, and we can draw the shadow under the dog. Let's take this color. Let's go back to monoline brush, and let's draw an ellipse here. color this inside. And now also let's drop the shadow from the cloud with the heart. So let's tap on this layer here and use the selection tool with the freehand option and select the cloud like this. Now tap here on copy and paste. You have this cloud now on a separate layer. Let's move it underneath the layer number 4. And we have to tap on it and turn off the clipping mask. And now we want this to be black. So let's tap on it and pick select. Let's change the color to black. And tap on this layer again now. And pick here fill layer. So now it's black. Let's use the arrow tool to move it a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to change the blending mode of this layer. Let's set it to overlay. And now at the end we can add some more things to the background. Let's tap on the layer of the grid and create a new layer above it. Let's take this color and let's use the monoline brush. And the brush size I'm going to use here is 53%. And I will just draw a simple bone shape like this. Let's change this layer's blending mode to overlay. And now we can duplicate this layer, so let's swipe it to the left and pick duplicate. And we can use the arrow tool to move it into different place and change the size of it. Let's do it a few times. Now let's make one more layer and we can draw the pause print. Draw a shape like this. And now 4 oval shapes on top of it. Let's change the blending mode of this layer also to overlay. And duplicate it a few times and move it around. And now at the end I'm going to add some stars and dots on the canvas. So I'm creating a new layer on top of everything. And the color I'm going to use here is white. And I will use my stamp brushes. If you are interested in them, the link for them will be in the description. I'm going to use here pointed star field in the brush size 9. And I will stamp it a few times on canvas. Now let's make it smaller, maybe 7%, and add it in 2 more places. And now maybe let's use this pointed star in brush size 6 and add it around the other stars we just did. So I'll be just changing the brush size and adding it in few places. Now maybe also let's add some dots. So I'm taking this dot filled brush and with the brush size 1%, I'm going to stamp it around those stars. Okay, and I'm going to draw some more here. And now this is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you will draw it and want to share it with me, please tag me on Instagram, I would love to see it. And here is a special shout out to my big fan supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for being there with me. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!